Facebook are rolling out yet another new feature inside the Facebook Ad Manager. This one is called Advantage Custom Audiences. And if it sounds familiar, that's because it is. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly what Advantage Custom Audiences are, what they mean for advertisers, and whether or not you should actually use them. So Advantage Custom Audiences are very similar to Advantage Lookalike Audiences and Advantage Detail Targeting, which Facebook rolled out over the last couple of years as well. Meaning, what it does is if you enable the Advantage Custom Audiences option, Facebook will actually expand your targeting to people outside of the custom audiences you've selected for targeting inside your ad set. And what Facebook says is that they will expand the audience if and when they think it's going to get you better results. So whether or not they do show your ads to people outside of the custom audience that you've chosen is completely up to Facebook. Meaning, if you select the option, they will decide when they do it, and you have zero control over it from that point onwards. Luckily, however, we do still have the option. You don't have to enable this if you don't want to. So once this feature does roll out to your ad accounts, and it's still happening now at the time that I'm recording this video, so not all accounts have it. But once you've got it, when you select a custom audience in your targeting options, then you will see the option with the checkbox appear to enable Advantage Custom Audiences. Now, by default, it is actually going to be enabled. So just make a note of that. And remember, if you don't want to enable this feature, you're going to have to turn it off because it will be enabled by default. So naturally, the question is going to be, should you use it or not? And it really depends on your use case. So here's where it can be useful. It's useful in cases where you're targeting a custom audience that is kind of broad and generic, and you don't mind if the ads you're showing that audience get seen to people outside of the audience who are still similar. So here's an example. If you're running ads to a webinar and you want to show those ads to your email list, so you've uploaded a customer list, customer audience that contains everybody on your email list, and you're showing ads inviting them to a webinar, or maybe even promoting a special offer, let's say a Black Friday deal. Well, in that case, if you were to select the Advantage Custom Audience option, well, in that case, it's probably going to be fine for people outside of that specific custom audience to see your ads inviting them to your webinar or presenting them with your special Black Friday offer. It's still going to make sense to the people that see it. And in this case, it might actually be helpful because it's going to allow you to scale beyond just that email list custom audience, which is usually relatively small. It may be tens of thousands or maybe even 100,000 people, but that's tiny by Facebook standards. And if Facebook is going to find people very similar to those existing people in the custom audience, then as I said, it might actually benefit you. But there are also a lot of cases where I wouldn't use it, and probably more cases where I wouldn't use it than where I would. And the situations where I would say this option isn't going to be good is any situation where you are showing an ad that is hyper-specific and contextual. So as an example, one situation would be an abandoned cart ad. So let's say somebody adds an item to their cart, or they begin the checkout process and then they leave. A really common retargeting strategy is to then show ads to that person that remind them to complete their checkout. And that strategy relies on custom audiences. So if you used the Advantage Custom Audience option in that situation and Facebook went outside of your custom audience and started showing these abandoned cart ads to people who hadn't actually started the checkout process, they wouldn't make sense. It would actually be a complete waste of money. Similarly, another case is where, let's say you're hosting a live webinar and you want to show ads to everybody who's registered for the webinar, reminding them to turn up live. Well, if you've got an ad that says, hey, don't forget you're signed up for this event that's coming up on Tuesday, make sure you join us live at 10 a.m. You don't want anybody outside of the people who've registered for that event to actually see that ad, because it's not going to make any sense at all. And again, you're just going to burn money. And so in deciding whether you want to enable this feature or not, you really have to think about the context, the particular campaign you're running and the ads you're running, and whether it makes sense to allow your ads to be shown to people outside of that custom audience if Facebook deems that you're going to get better results. It really is going to come down to an individual case-by-case basis as to whether this is a good option or not a good option to enable. My main concern is that Facebook are going to go down a similar path to the one they did with Advantage Lookalike Audiences and Advantage Detailed Targeting, in that they remove the choice. They make this option mandatory and we can't disable it if we want to. If that happens, I think it will be very detrimental to a lot of advertisers, because if Facebook are going to go outside of your custom audiences in every situation where they think it is best, then as I said before, there are several scenarios where this is just going to break campaigns, and it's going to result in people seeing ads that they really shouldn't. And so our choice is going to be either just knowing that people are going to see ads that don't make sense, which isn't good in terms of wasting money, and it's not good from a brand perspective, or we just don't run those remarketing campaigns anymore, which again isn't good because often they are some of the most profitable campaigns that we run. So that's the first concern. The second big concern that I have is the lack of transparency. As with all of the other advantage audiences that Facebook have rolled out to this point, we can't see when they go outside of the audiences and when they don't. So we have no visibility into whether they've actually shown our ads to people outside of our selected audiences or not. And on top of that, we can't see percentages. So we don't know if they have gone outside of our chosen audiences, how much of the budget did they spend on the audience that we chose versus people outside. We have no visibility into that either. And so that's what really concerns me about new features like this. I personally would much rather see Facebook just work on the existing problems with the platform than rolling out new features like this. But hey, that's just me and my personal preference. Now, if you want to learn more about custom audiences and the best ones to use and how we use them, different strategies and the different ones that are available, make sure you watch this video next where it walks you through all of that. You'll learn my favorite ways to use custom audiences, my favorite types of custom audiences, and much more. All right, hope you've enjoyed this video and I will see you next time. Bye.